User Dreamy Baby asked Reddit, what's something totally normal in your country that would shock most Americans?
When people die, we put up little posters, printed obituaries, on the walls of buildings, all around town and close to places the person liked to frequent. They have a little picture of the person, their date of birth and death, and a message of mourning from the family.
If you get sick on your vacation, you go to the DR and the company has to give you your days back.
In my country, you don't even have to go to the doctor. If it's not necessary, of course, and usually it's not. When it's a rhinovirus or something similar, you just report these days upon return and get vacation's day back. This is because vacation days are supposed to re-energize you and you should enjoy it, and you can't when you're sick. The system is based on trust.
The maternity leave is fucking bonkers, to the point where I've had colleagues that I didn't even meet due to them being out on maternity for like 3 to 4 years. Plus, you accrue paid leave during this time at a rate of 1 month per year, so you can extend it by almost half a year off. Gun violence is very rare. I'll go as far as to say non-existent for the average civvy. I've handled guns because I ran with shady crowds, but for a normal person, if they don't go to a gun range, the only time they'll see a gun is on a police officer or army personnel.
I had to go back to work 5 weeks after my first was born and it sucked. I went to work sick flu, ear infections, toothaches for 4.5 more years, not using a sick day in order to accrue more leave for a planned second pregnancy. I wound up planning the pregnancy around existing breaks was in higher education industry and got 6 months total leave, 3 months which was not paid. And I thought I had won y'all for planning so carefully. The US is so fucked and so far behind.
My family is from Ecuador, specifically Guayaquil, so I visit often. On Saturday nights, there is a roller coaster cart that drives around town, drifting, doing donuts, going super fast while playing music. It's the shape of a worm, so they call it El Gazanito. It picks people up like every other block, and it costs 25 cents to ride. There are no limits to how many people get on per cart. I even saw a stray dog catch a ride once. It's so unsafe, but super fun. That would never happen in the States.
Oh, wow, I would be in line for that every Saturday night.
I lived in Spain for a few years as an American. One of the biggest differences was the fact that their whole family lives together indefinitely, in a home the size that would fit a starter family in America. They have their grandparents, aunts, uncles, etc., and they all take care of each other. As someone who was forced to move out at 18, that fascinated me.
America and maybe some Western European countries are the odd ones out with this. Even then, the concept of a nuclear family unit being parents and children only is a pretty new concept historically. When I started as a pharmacy tech, I absolutely flabbergasted my Indian pharmacist. She asked why. I was working so young, I was 18, and I said I was going to college and needed the tuition money. She thought it was absolutely wild. My parents were dead, disabled already. In her region, children were completely supported by their parents until they finished college or had a good paying job. How else would the child take care of the parents when they were old? Related to that, India has some absolute bangers about in-laws.
American here. I was shocked that Europe sells non-refrigerated milk. It's magic, I tell you. Also, European stores let you buy 1 bottle or can from a larger multi-pack, which is very strange to me. If 6 bottles are packaged together, you buy them together in the States. But Europe allows you to just yank them out and go to the register with it. Japan allows you to pay your taxes, rent, utilities, police fines, and much more at the local convenience store. Mind-blowing.
When the first American was in Bavaria, there was a nice little cafe with outdoor seating not far from the lodge I was staying at. It wasn't very far from a photo art studio that had a bunch of their photos on display in their storefront that included quite a few really tasteful and elegant nudes. Right in front of the studio was a bus stop as well, where kids of all ages would embark, disembark, paying the studio photos zero mind at all. I would picture how that studio would be mobbed in full pitchfork and torch style in America, even considering displaying a fraction of that artwork anywhere. remotely near a public area, especially with frequent kid traffic.
UK. 1. Drinking in public is acceptable. 2. Drinking on trains is acceptable. 3. You can go for years without ever seeing a gun. 4. There are zero natural predators, so you don't really worry when going out into nature. 5. Healthcare is free. 6. Everyone gets at least 20 days annual leave. 7. Workers have rights. 8. Aside from a small minority, nobody really cares about your race or religion. 9. Public transport is pretty good, if expensive. 10. Tea, coffee, and beer are all strong and made with natural ingredients. 11. Very rare to find high fructose corn syrup in anything.
The vast majority of people in my city use public transport to get to work. Also, the central city is entirely walkable. I can get to 2 cinemas, multiple supermarkets, clothing stores, universities, libraries and doctors within 10 minutes walk of my house. Cars are much less used here in the big cities. Also, I have 5 weeks annual leave, several public holidays off a year. My prescriptions only cost $10, and I have never seen a gun outside of a range in real life.
Sweden. Paid paternity leave of up to 480 days per child. Public access to information. You can easily look up where everyone lives and how much they earn. Right to roam. You can camp in forests owned by other people and pick mushrooms and berries. On Christmas, Jesus is arguably less important than Donald Duck. You can go years without using cash. Street beggars accept phone payments.
What politicians call lobbying is called corruption everywhere else in the world. Same with politicians owning stocks and making decisions that affect those stocks is called insider trading and also illegal.
Lobbying is not the problem. The problem is that lobbyists can literally hand out checks on the floor right before a vote, and that's not illegal. Lobbying is just going to representatives and telling them why you think a law should be a certain way, and as a constituent or an expert, I think that part is reasonable to be able to do.
University fees are relatively low. We generally pay off our student loans in our 20s. South Africa, for example, we're paying our $70K per annum for our son to do chemical engineering. Is for why our degree will be around our 280K, which is us $16K. Most of my American friends still have student loans, around $50,000.
If I need to go to the doctor, I just tell my boss, I'm gone for an hour or 2 in the middle of the day. And then I just go to the doctor. And maybe the doctor tells me I need to go to the hospital. And then I just go to the hospital. And the most expensive part of it all? Parking my car.
Sex education for children in Norway is not subtle. There's a children's series about puberty on the state-run channel that doesn't use innuendo or drawings. They just use naked people of all ages. There's also a show where kids ask naked adults questions about their bodies. And by kids I mean 10-year-olds. They don't beat around the bush with sex ed here. Insert bush joke below.
Azerbaijanis drink piping hot black tea, even on the hottest summer days. Americans might think this is crazy because they're always looking for iced drinks.
Traditionally, we did this with coffee in the US. I think my grandmother would have killed someone that suggested she drink iced coffee. It only seemed to become a thing in the early 2000s here.
I'm in South Africa, and I love chicken liver pate, chicken neck curry, or soup. But I don't see the point of chicken feet, as others do. Grilled sheep's head is called a smiley. Have never tried it, but I have tasted dried mohogany worms.
Most people don't mind paying taxes. They like knowing that it's helping everyone. Obviously not 100%, but it's pretty high. Also manners and politeness. Terraced houses, particularly if some of them have been converted to retail units. Not having a separate utility room for the washing machine and dryer. Century-old buildings being nothing especially remarkable to us. Unexploded ordnance turning up during construction work. Getting caught in fishing nets, etc. so regularly that it barely makes the local news. How seriously we take football.
The general ability to drink the tap water anywhere within the country. Here, drinking bottled water if it's not carbonized gets you a weird look mostly. Update. Need to clarify that by general ability, I am referring to the lack of taste of cleaning materials, like chlorine, not the general safety of the water.
Long service leave. Australia. If you stay in your job for 10 years, you get an extra 3 months leave, on top of your regular annual leave. This is a hangover from the days of passenger ships, where going home to Mother England took 4 to 5 weeks on a ship. So as not to lose qualified, trained people, this was the compromise.
Here in Norway, choose to have a normal driver's license, which allows you to drive both manual and automatic cars, or you can choose to only have a license on automatics.
Reading all these comments, I'm realizing that us, Americans, are probably the least free people of any developed nation in the world. In any sense, being an American is like living in a factory disguised as a society.